Bad might be a strong word, but underwhelming for sure. This is a deep dive into the Dueling Dragons Choose Thy Fate house from Halloween Horror Nights 2023. News would be revealed about a new Halloween Horror Nights house based on the defunct Islands of Adventure coaster Dueling Dragons on July 28, 2023, a month and 10 days before the house would be open to the public. The house was set as a prequel to the events that happened during the original story of Dueling Dragons, which opened with Islands of Adventure on opening day, May 28, 1999, manufactured by B&M and in operation until 2017, where it was ultimately replaced with Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure. Dueling Dragons featured two individual coasters which operated at the same time to create a dueling effect similar to coasters like Gemini at Cedar Point. However, the dueling aspect was stopped towards the end of its life cycle due to safety concerns.
For the second time in 2 weeks, a guest has been injured on Dragon Challenge in Islands of Adventure.
But the racing aspect is super important to the overall lore of Dueling Dragons. The defunct roller coaster was based on two rivaling dragons themed to fire and ice: Blizzrock the Ice Dragon from the Icy Kingdom of Hellfrost, and Pyrock the Fire Dragon from the Fire Kingdom of the Cinderlands. These dragons would terrorize their respective kingdoms with their fire and ice powers. A third kingdom in the mix was Merlin Wood, which is protected by the sorcerer Merlin. This was once a themed island at Islands of Adventure before it was replaced by the Harry Potter area Hogsmeade as we know today. In Merlin would recruit park guests to assist them in the plan to train the dragons by choosing their fates. This was done through picking a side to ride on the coaster, fire or ice. While riding the roller coaster, guests would race each other in a duel to see which side was superior. Fast forward to 2023, we would get more information about the story before the riders rode the ride, because the backstory of Dueling Dragons Choose Thy Fate, the house, predates the ride and starts with Merlin, who is turned into the Enchanted Oak. In the house, we meet Blizzrock, an ice warlock whose goal in the story is to claim Merlin's spellbook, as well as Pyrock, a fire warlock with the same goal, traveling to Merlin's castle. They travel through the fairy forest, which gets walked through in the house as well. Once Blizzrock and Pyrock make it to Merlin's castle, it is revealed that the book has a spell on it, causing the two warlocks to transform into dragons. They then battle, creating the start of the coaster lore Dueling Dragons. Now that we have the story of the house and the coaster linked together, it's time to go through the house itself. The actual walkthrough of the house starts with the line, which is situated to the right of the Rip Ride Rocket track in the New York section of the park. Guests would queue through the backlot of Universal until they approached team members letting them into Soundstage 24. The house starts with a narrow hallway with banner flags briefly illustrating the conflict between the fire and the ice warlocks. Because every Soundstage 24 house has to start with a narrow hallway, sorry, I just needed an excuse to talk about the 2019 Halloween Horror Nights all-time best house, Us. Back to Choose Thy Fate. The house officially starts with the Enchanted Oak. Guests, which in the house are referred to as adventurers, walk inside as Merlin is speaking to them. Once entering through the Enchanted Oak, adventurers arrive in the fairy forest as the battle between the two warlocks has begun. Adventurers are first approached by Blizzrock, who jumps out at them, followed by Pyrock. After the encounters, the forest section of the house ends and transitions into the front of Merlin's castle. When entering the castle, a hallway starts that takes adventurers into the room with Merlin's spellbook. We see Blizzrock and Pyrock attempt to cast spells onto the spellbook. Wait, pause. Why is Blizzrock a statue and Pyrock is a scare actor in this room? Anyway, the book, written in mainly an unknown language, has the words "Choose Thy Fate" in the right bottom corner, foreshadowing the events soon to happen. The spells the warlocks are casting onto the spellbook are unknowingly activating Merlin's counterspell. This counterspell transforms whoever casts the spell on it into a dragon. In the next room, we first get to see the start of the transformation of the warlocks into their respected dragons, starting with Blizzrock, then followed by Pyrock. After the transformation starts, the adventurers move on into a new room where the castle is destroyed. Blizzrock, now a dragon, attacks with an icy breath. A fight breaks out between the two dragon skeletal soldiers towards the end of the destroyed castle. Choose Thy Fate, the room now states. This right here is why I believe Dueling Dragons Choose Thy Fate was underwhelming. See, when the house was first announced, it was immediately clear that this would be a split path house, meaning somewhere in the house, the one path was split into two paths, breaking up the guest flow, which hasn't been done since Hellgate Prison in 2004. Similar to Choose Thy Fate, this split path house was the final part of the house. However, parties were actually split up, creating a true sense of fear. Meanwhile, in Choose Thy Fate, it's solely up to the party. If you want to stick with your group, go ahead and stay on one side of the path. Want to split it up? Feel free to, but having a choice takes away the scare. But this isn't really why I was disappointed with the split path feature. The length of it was. Having Choose Thy Fate in the title of your house basically implies that it's a core element and not a finale. And I fully understand that the timeline of this house and the coaster align with where the house split is. But I can't sit here and say I wasn't leaving the house thinking, wow, the split was only a few seconds. When approaching the split, you have a choice. Ice on the right and fire on the left. When adventurers pick ice, they are approached by an ice demon, then meet Blizzrock one final time in warlock form. They then see Merlin's spellbook, and then finally Merlin himself at the very end congratulating the adventurers.
Protectors of the realm, you have saved the kingdom.
Meanwhile, if you choose to go down the fire path, adventurers are approached by a fire demon, then they meet Pyrock one more final time in warlock form, they then see Merlin's spellbook, and finally meet Merlin himself at the very end congratulating the adventurers.
You have triumphed!
Wait, isn't that just the same thing but themed to fire or ice? Yes it was. Which is why I wish the Choose Thy Fate part was situated in the middle of the house, specifically after the first spellbook room. Imagine if the adventurers got to see the transformations of Blizzrock and Pyrock through their own paths. Then, the path could have reunited in the castle destroyed scene, allowing adventurers to switch paths, creating 4 house combinations. Even if the paths didn't reunite during the castle scene, it would have been neat to have both paths present during the destroyed castle room, and adventurers could see their rival side walking on the other side while the skeleton units were fighting. I'm sure there was budget or practical reasons as to why the split path part of the house was extremely short, but it would have been super neat to see this aspect of the house go more in depth. This is in no way the worst house at Halloween Horror Nights 2023. I think we all have an idea on that one. Sorry, I definitely do not want to talk about this house now, so let's talk about the positives of Dueling Dragons Choose Thy Fate. The best thing about this house is the fact that it's based on a defunct attraction. It's super neat seeing Universal Creative take an existing backstory of a Lost to Time roller coaster and revive it with new lore for longtime Universal fans like myself to experience. Knowing that this is a possibility, it would be amazing to see Poseidon's Fury at Halloween Horror Nights. Imagine being able to walk through the water tunnel again. For now though, we can just reflect on this truly one-of-a-kind Horror Nights house. Okay fine, the merchandise for this house was an actual 10 out of 10 as well. If you have enjoyed this video, I plan on making more Halloween Horror Nights deep dives soon, but for now here's a video YouTube thinks is best for you.